What's good, Gang Green? It's your boy, Jersey Boy. We're back at it again. Super excited. We got another win against the Raiders this game, and our team did what it needed to do. We took advantage of a weak linebacking core with the Raiders, and as you can see, we've had our best offensive game, or at least top two for sure, in our short season. You know, the defense is usually carrying us. It's nice to see how our team could essentially perform for us if both teams are on the same track, as we put up one of our best numbers of the season in this win. So Trevor Simeon does get in for one play as Sam Darnold steps out, gets a chunk play there. Derek Carr goes for almost 400 yards. He gets a touchdown. We do get to him quite a few times. And then taking a look at Sam Darnold, he has his most complete game of the season, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and we get to keep the sacks to a minimum. It's great to see there. Completion percentage could be a bit better, but Le'Veon Bell, I think easily as well, has one of his best rushing performances of the season. 121 yards. We get a touchdown, almost 6 yards per average for the carry. Isaiah Crowell and Doug Martin we hold to a minimum, although Doug Martin does see pay dirt. And then Jalen Retcher contributes a bit, so their running back by committee approach didn't really help them out as much. And then Bilal Powell gets one of his 2 carries into the end zone. So I have to check the sliders. Doesn't seem like we improved. Maybe it could have just been the flow of the game. But we'll see how that works out in our next matchup. Luke Wilson here. He does go for 107 yards on 9 receptions. So a sore thumb for us. But the rest of the team we were able to kind of hold below. 69 there for Rogers, 64 for Inunwa. And then everybody else pretty much had minimum impact. Chris Herndon does have an excellent game, though. Only 3 receptions and 42 yards, but 2 of those he finds the end zone. And then Le'Veon Bell puts in some more work in the receiving department as well, getting 37 yards on just 5 carries. Taking a look at our top 3 defenders and tackles, we have C.J. Mosley, Brian Poole, and Adams. We have our normal trend here, 2 members of our secondary leading the way for tackles, although C.J. Mosley has a ridiculous 20 this game. And seeing who gets into the backfield for us, we have Quinnen Williams twice, so the rookie's still doing his thing. And then C.J. Mosley here, and Jordan Jenkins and the rookie Ja'Kai Polite leading out the way. Leonard Williams gets in there twice. Avery Williamson and Shepard round out our 4-sack game for us. We had no interceptions, but we definitely usually have a guaranteed fumble. Jamal Adams and Nathan Shepard there. Great to see. And then we did score a touchdown defensively from the rookie Ja'Kai Polite on a fumble recovery reception there. So great game for us, guys. Super excited, happy for the team. So seems like just a message of we have a career to review. Morality boost, I suppose. It would have been nice to get a morale boost. It would have been nice to actually get something like that potentially. But Brent Qualley not gonna stick around with us, but he's increasing his capabilities on the season. And per our usual, we're going to go ahead and take a look at checking out the scouting report, see what we have on the books for the rest of the secondary. We started taking a look at them in the beginning. Also looks like we have a couple of season. Still haven't I really figured out what I want to call these. I think I've been saying career clocks previously. Um, but let's call these I'm trying to remember. There's like a ESPN 30 for 30 I was remembering, where they're referring to critical parts of the season as like the turning points, essentially. But the defensive coordinator says, Coach, I want you to keep an eye on Williams, the defensive lineman. He was a big part of our win last week. I'm not totally sold on him yet, but if he has a repeat performance against the Bengals this week, he might turn out to be a very special player. So if we can hold the Bengals to less than 75 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, which is looking like we ideally might be able to, or if Leonard Williams can get 2 interceptions, forced fumbles, tackles for loss, and sacks, he'll be able to increase his development trait, which would be outstanding for us. Might actually be able to keep him around. Ideally, what I was taking a look at potentially doing was a sign and trade, not with the franchise tag though, but just signing him to a 2 or 3 year contract and then seeing what we can get for him. Coach, I wanted to brief you about Geno Atkins before our game this week. He brings a ton of power to the Cincinnati defense, and he has the strength to collapse the pocket against the run and the pass. How do you want to handle him? Per our normal, we're just going to try to slow all of these players down as best as possible, especially when it comes to the offensive line. So we want to beat the Bengals and at least make a rushing touchdown with anybody on our team. Checking out the scouting department, there was a couple players in the cornerback position early on that may have been able to assist us with turning around our team next season, and a lot that will most likely not. But I'm not worried about our safety depth so much here. A lot of what I'm going to be looking for is mostly centered around our cornerbacks and maybe just some depth pieces. So depending on how well these traits play out in like the combine and things like that, that'll really give me a more solid ideal on pretty much what I'm working with here. So I don't want to waste any of these points necessarily, so we can dive back into looking at we do need a backup to either develop if Sam Darnold doesn't pan out within about 2 seasons, or as a backup to him if he does. This might be a little bit early on though, so maybe towards the end of week 16 or 17. Let's just continue with breaking down some of these offensive linemen that we have in the draft. And taking a look at the Bengals depth chart. The good news is we have the development trait on the line for Leonard Williams there, but I do believe the Bengals have not significantly improved anything with their line. So Andy Dalton's still leading the way there. Giovanni Bernard in the backfield, and it looks like they're running into some injury trouble. Pretty much only have a two-man field here, and anytime you have two fullbacks on the roster, you kind of got to scratch your head. So interesting position breakdown they have. AJ Green though leading the way for them still. Tyler Boyd, the rookie that developed pretty well over his first 3 seasons. John Ross the third, and Kenny Britt rounding out the way. So they have a pretty lethal receiving core, all things considered. Tyler Eifert there, injury prone but very skilled, and then CJ Uzoma on the line though. The rookie Jonah Williams. We have Cordy Glenn, Billy Price, Brandon Fusco, and Donald Penn. So all in all, it's not the strongest line I've ever seen, but we'll see how the course of the game plays out. Hopefully things go in our favor. Carlos Dunlap here on the line with Jordan Willis backing him up. Carl Lawson, Geno Atkins in the middle trying to wreck game plans. Nick Vigil, Preston Brown, Jermaine Pratt. So this is looking very eerily similar to the Raiders team that we just beat in dramatic fashion and pretty severely as well. So hopefully, again, we'd be able to take advantage of their deficiencies there. William Jackson in the secondary, Dre Kirkpatrick, Darquez Denard. So solid depth for them. If they suffer an injury, though, their game plan could go awry. Jesse Bates the third in the back, and Sean Williams rounding out their chart here. So we are looking fairly good. We are leading our division, so at this point in time, it's definitely looking like we will be most definitely in the playoff picture. And surprisingly enough, we're not too far off from possibly being the #1 ranked seed. Now, taking a look at some of our games, highly unlikely, but I do think we will end up winning our division. And if we can secure maybe one of the top 3 or 4 spots, Hopefully that will help us out. And, if we can make some kind of run in the playoffs, I won't be mad. It only add to the amount of experience our players are getting. And when we have this influx of talent next season, they can help lead the way. Very, very bad season for the rest of our division opponents, though. You would expect the Patriots is what essentially we'd be looking like. Um, we've scored the least amount of points in our division, though, but we've also been scored on the least amount. So the defense definitely stepping up and keeping us in tune with a lot of these games. Nothing of note really here that I would care about significantly other than these division wins and losses. So we're tied even. The Dolphins do have the best record in our division, though, only receiving one loss. So they potentially could still sneak in just on the strength of having the best record in our division. So interesting to see how that will play out for us. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and finish the training for this week, guys, and we will see if we can overcome the Bengals or if they end up making a quick meal out of us. But with that said, please, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'd love your feedback, thoughts on anything. Let me know what you guys are thinking we should focus on in the off season. Love to hear your thoughts there. But it's your boy Jersey Boy, and I'm out. Peace.